Hey guys, gonna teach you how I created this tattoo design via Procreate on the iPad Pro. When I start new designs, I go ahead and hit this plus sign and I go to paper in 11 by 8.5, because it's just easier to print out when I create my stencil. So normally what I go ahead and do is I will add the body part based off of what she sent me. Now, normally when I do this, I like to warp the body part to make it look a little bit how it would look in person. Sometimes when people take photos, they don't take it straight on. So I'm gonna go ahead and warp that. I'm gonna erase all the background on this. It's so unnecessary to have. Don't really need her hand in there. So now I'm just gonna pull up basically what she wanted. I always print out the emails. I have my assistant go over them and kind of lock down exactly just in a couple of paragraphs. For this, she wanted a Taurus tattoo with a woman's face and a crown of flowers. Those are the three elements that I'm definitely gonna be paying attention to. And the rest is really beautiful. She adds the reasoning, and I love reasonings. It's all about feelings for me. We wanna make sure that we're getting the feeling from our clients. So I really want to connect with the independent, strong, stubborn traits of my Taurus. I also really love nature. I find it calming and helps me recharge. So this is something I want to keep in mind. So I normally just keep that right there just for reference. And now I'm going to bring in the start of the design. So the reason why I decided to choose a 3/4 face. Now, if you've already owned or you want to go buy my opaque tattoo rituals and techniques, it goes over in depth about all of these things. But the reason why I decided for a 3/4 face is that since it's landing on the forearm, we want to be able to land it perfectly. And I'm also thinking of the horns. So I'm thinking of how this is all going to land. For me personally, if you're doing a 3/4 face, there's just a lot better angles and edges that you can get away with, and a lot more darkness when it comes to lighting, if the lighting is coming this way. So for me, I want the face to land somewhere around here, although I will freeform it just so that we can elongate the face. Go down here. Perfect. And so her face actually lands pretty closely to the edges. So I only have this part of her face going around and then the ear going on the other side. So we got to look at the arm as like almost like a rectangle. So we have the front, we have the sides, and then we have the back. So I look at it from like a rectangular box. And now that we have the face in there, I'm going to go ahead and just erase the background areas that I just don't necessarily think I will need. Perfect. And all I've done with the face is that I've just lowered the opacity down to like 65 so that I can see through and see what's happening underneath. Now I'm gonna go for the horns. So I had a lot of fun looking for some of the horns in these elements. There it is. On a woman already. So what I'm gonna go ahead and do is I'm going to erase the parts I don't want. Just using my freehand selection tool. And I want to add this other horn as well. So I'm just gonna continue to draw it in. Because once we have it on this add part, it'll just begin to add more to the selection. Perfect. I'm gonna invert it so then I can erase the entire background. Perfect. And then I'm going to lower the saturation. I'm going to duplicate it because I know that one of the horns is not going to be on point. So I want to cool. Definitely like that. You basically just want to make sure that it lands on her head where it looks like it's realistic. The last thing we want is something that doesn't look anatomically correct if it was anatomically correct. So we're going into the next layer. I erased the other horn and I'm just making this horn a little bit smaller. Now I'm just gonna take my eraser and lower the opacity down, just erase a little bit of this area and just a little bit of this and move this a little bit back further. Yeah, that feels really good. Perfect. So now, honestly, now that we have the horns, we have the beautiful girl face, side profile, we know it's gonna look really good. She obviously wants a crown of flowers, but she also mentioned something about nature and it feeling calming. For me, a fern came to mind. It just channeled through. Ferns mean new life and new beginnings, and I feel like whenever you're getting a tattoo, it's very transformational. So I went ahead and found something I thought would be really significant, but also something that can offer a lot of black. So there are two reasons for this. It's compositional and it's also spiritual, and it offers that aspect to it. So it has meaning behind it, but it also offers the element of composition for my tactic to make sure that we have a lot of black and we have a lot of elements that offer a lot of contrast. So oops, gonna go ahead and go into automatic, select this tool. And you can slide back and forth to get more of it as you're noticing. So, let's just do it this way, there we go. Perfect. And I will invert it, erase. Perfect, so I will unselect that. I really like to have like tattoos on the faces. I just think that there's something very sacred about having tattoos on faces. And so that's something that I really enjoy doing. So how I want this to land too is that it makes sure that we're staying in the range of obviously above her wrist, offering a lot of black elements because the only black elements we have really is her hair and her eyebrows. So we want to add some more black elements underneath her and create a tattoo that goes well on this part of body. So let's go ahead, put it there. I'm gonna warp some of this. Now the reason why I wanted to face this way is just because I want to make sure that I'm not landing anywhere where there's too many straight lines. Just because I don't want to hide the darkness of her chin down here. So when I brighten this up, you don't want to hide this darkness of the chin. And I just want them to be differentiating. Like I'm not trying to cover the shadow here of the chin. I really want the chin to be its own thing and then this to land in a way that looks like its own thing as well. So two different elements. And then from here, I'm just gonna erase the parts that I no longer need. Something around here. And this. And the reason why I erase some of this is so that I can have the black hair come through. And we'll notice I'll leave some of this so that it lands over. So she has like another little tiny piece that kisses the other side of her wrist. I love these kinds of things, these elements that kind of it's not super perfect to cookie cutter. There's elements that draw the eye away to other elements. It's a big thing on composition. So once I have that down, now I'm going to offer a bit of a background. So I'll add another layer here. And I really already like this background, but I think I'm gonna go a little bit darker. So for this particular piece, what I'm gonna go ahead and do is I'm actually just going to elongate the neck as well, but just keep the background above this area and then have all of this underneath, no background. Reason being is this, again, offers really cool, edgy endings as opposed to me just doing like all of this. I don't particularly like that. Plus, if she doesn't want like a full covered sleeve, it's unnecessary. So then this way she has a really cute, dainty ending for it. So that's a very feminine aspect. And then now I will go ahead and just paint in the neck a little bit more. So here, basically all I'm using is the color drop tool in order to get the color here. Offer a little bit more. And then I'll just kind of smudge it all together. So we have a semblance of understanding that the neck is going to go down lower. For me, that's perfect. We could actually make this just a little bit more. There we go. So now it goes all the way down into the fern. The fern offers almost like a bracelet looking thing, very feminine. It's also the meaning of new life and new beginnings, and also offers black. So we got to think about all of these things, especially as intentional tattooers. And now we're gonna go ahead and add the florals. So I'm still in line of her arm. Everything looks compositionally perfect. Now I'm just going to add some florals. So the reason why I decided to choose these flowers is basically just, honestly, it's more of the coloring. Blue has a coloring of calm, and it just has like a water feel to me. And so when I think of this, I like to look at it from a perspective of like, if she thinks of nature and this is calming for her, and this piece is meant to be transformational, what we want more of is less crazy reds anxiety feeling and more calming aspects to a transformational piece. So if her desire is to feel more calm, I'm going to offer her coloring and aspects to her tattoo that represent that. So just go into here, go into automatic, press on the background, because that's all we really need. It looks pretty good. All right, so I'm gonna erase. Erase anything else I don't need. Cool. All right, so I'm gonna go down like this. Warp it just to get it to wrap around the hair or the horns the way that I'd like. Again, we want this all to sit as though we're making a realistic piece. So that feels really good. I'm just gonna duplicate that, and then I'm going to flip horizontal. Oops. Freeform it. And offer this to the other side of her face. Now I'm gonna actually take out these 2 flowers. I also have to know that I'm also doing this in 1 day. So the fact that we're only booked in for 1 day, I like to make pieces knowing that they're gonna get it done within 1 day. So I'm going to nix 2 of the flowers. I'm also, just because it'll be more hidden and they'll also wrap around a lot underneath. And I'm also looking at the fact that, yeah, like less flowers means that I'm more likely to get this done in 1 day, which is what most of my clients love, and they fly out for these reasons. And so we like to honor our agreements to that. So I'm just gonna remove that. This also just, honestly, we don't want a lot wrapping around, just in case she does want another piece on the other side. It doesn't take up too much space. So here we are, have this extra little piece. And honestly, just for some design composition, let me up that. Just so it feels a little bit better. There we go. And for another just cool elements that could end this piece in a really cool way is I'm actually going to add a couple more ferns to the top. So I'm going to add, this to the back of her head. This just adds a little bit extra to the bouquet of flowers that she wanted wrapped around the head. Just erase anything that's coming out. Let me go ahead and erase a little bit more of this here. Move this down. Perfect. And I kind of wanted it to be more like right here. Lovely. So we have a little extra zhuzh up at the top there. Perfect. And now I kind of really just want to, I love tattoos on faces. I just think they're wonderful. So to even add more element to the Taurus vibe, I went online and found the Taurus symbol and something that feels really cool. And so what I'm gonna go ahead and do is I'm just gonna do multiply and then erase everything that no longer is necessary. I could either do that, or I can press select and just do all the black here. But personally, I don't think it's necessary. Because it will show, her skin will show through. Okay, so now I'm just going to make it land in a way that looks like it's tattooed or drawn onto her face. So we go into warp. Actually distort this a little bit. So you see how it's like flattened as I distort it? So it just looks a little bit more flat. Actually, let me go ahead and distort it first before I warp it. Freeform. See already it looks like it's gonna follow pretty smoothly onto her face. And then I'm gonna warp it to where it feels really painted on. And then I'm going to erase anything that we don't want here. I'm going to add, now that we've added the little tattoo to her face, I am going to create some makeup. And then normally with makeup, I just do overlay here. And I'll dumb this down to just kind of like make it feel really good. Erase anything in here so we're not covering her eye. Move this background, move that. And there you have it.